Hello everybody, this is the iFan channel here. Over here is a Windows 7 laptop, and due to the fact in just 3 days Windows 7 will turn 15 years old, therefore I'm actually going to review Windows 7 and see whether or not it is actually worth it in 2024. Now, due to the fact Windows 7 RTM has been unsupported for 11 years, therefore I actually updated it to Service Pack 1, which does include some security updates as well as some new features, and therefore this will be a review of Windows 7 Service Pack 1 instead of RTM. And unfortunately, this is not the Ultimate Edition, so it will not include features such as BitLocker or Hyper-V support or really any of these stuff. So why not? Let's start. But first off, let me tell you guys a history of Windows 7 and why Windows 7 is so popular in the first place, and why it is superseded by Windows 10 and not Windows 8. Windows 7 became the most popular OS in 2012, and it reigned supremacy until about 2018 when Windows 10 superseded it as the most popular OS. Windows 7 was initially slated to be a successor to Windows Blackcomb, but in reality after Vista's release, Blackcomb was renamed to Vienna, but due to the scope of the project it was cancelled in 2007. In 2008, it was announced that the official name of the next operating system would be Windows 7. Windows Vista was criticized for the long development time, performance issues on certain pieces of hardware, spotty compatibility with existing hardware and software at launch, as well as the annoying UAC control bug. But by SP2, which is actually Service Pack 2, everything has been fixed and Vista is finally polished. However, due to the fact people were anticipating for Windows 7, therefore nobody bothered upgrading to Vista and instead waited for Windows 7, which include all the Vista fixes as well as new features as well. After several builds where Windows 7 beta was fully transformed from Vista to 7, Windows 7 was released to manufacturing on July the 22nd, 2009, and was released to general availability on October 22nd of 2009, about 15 years ago as of the uploading of this video. Windows 7 included a ton of new features, notable which were improved boot performance, kernel improvements, improved performance on multi-core processors, a new version of Windows Media Player and Media Center, Windows Powershell straight out of the box, a redesigned calculator, new icons, a revamped taskbar that is enlarged, as well as multitudes of window management features such as the window snapping called AeroSnap, AeroShake, and new themes. It also included the gimmicky feature called Windows XP Mode, which allows you to run Windows XP as a virtual machine on Windows 7. The classic start menu interface has been removed from Windows 7, however. Windows 7's copy protection system has been much more lenient than that of older OSs, but still not as lenient as that of Windows 10 and 11. Windows 7 came bundled with IE8, which many people did not care as they are accustomed to Chrome and Firefox by 2009. There were 6 editions of Windows 7, Windows 7 Starter, Windows 7 Home Basic, both of which are actually for emerging markets, Windows 7 Home Premium, Windows 7 Professional, Windows 7 Ultimate, and Windows 7 Enterprise. Due to the antitrust regulations in the EU and South Korea, Microsoft did have to create an N version and KN versions of Windows 7, which did remove Media Player as well as several other features. And the system requirements of Windows 7 are a 1 GHz processor with 1 GB of RAM for 32-bit and 2 GB of RAM for 64-bit, and 16 or 20 gigs of storage depending on whether or not it is 32 or 64-bit of storage respectively, as well as a DirectX 9 graphics processor. Those requirements are similar to Windows 10, so many PCs which are compatible with Windows 7 could upgrade to the more modern Windows 10. Windows 8 development started in 2009, and by the time it was released in 2012, there was a really poor reception given the totally revamped UI, which is unintuitive amongst PC users, which was fixed by hiding the tablet mode in Windows 10, given the fact Microsoft had the audacity to remove the start button and it made Windows 8 a disaster for Windows, so people stayed with Windows 7 or even XP. Due to the poor reception of Windows 8, people kept using XP and 7, so Windows 7 remained popular all the way up into 2018 when it was superseded by Windows 10. Even though Windows 8.1 did pick some of the excrescences with Windows 8, that was not enough to get people to switch, as the Metro UI still alienated people. Windows 7 support ended on the 14th of January 2020 as per Microsoft's lifestyle, with Windows 8.1 receiving end of support last year, and Windows 10 will receive end of support next year. Windows 7 Service Pack 1 was released in 2011, and it included new features as well as bug fixes. Okay guys, you actually heard about the history. Now I'm gonna walk over the hardware of this machine, because this machine is actually my first laptop. My uncle and aunt, who are now in their late 80s, actually bought this laptop for me in like early 2009, and I actually learned programming in this in 2010 alongside the MacBook Pro. And not only did I learn programming, I actually also downloaded VMware, VirtualBox, as well as several different VM software, including Microsoft Virtual PC during the late 2000s, like around 2009 and early 2010. Even though this is not my very first PC, as my very first PC is from 2006, I did have fond memories of this machine, as in 2009, as a primary school student, I actually upgraded this machine from Windows Vista to Windows 7 by downloading some ISOs off the Pirate Bay, and mega uploaded and actually downloaded Windows 7. I'm not even joking, as somebody who's less than 10 years old back in 2009. In case if you did not know, I was actually born in the early 2000s. Now moving on from all the personal talk, this is actually an Inspiron 15157B, and it does have a bright 15.6 inch HD widescreen display with an Intel Core 2 Duo processor over here, and it does say 4 gigs of RAM and 320 gigs of hard drive, but when I checked Windows Explorer, it actually had only 150 gigs of hard drive space over here. So I'm being misled. Not only that, the processor is clocked at 2 GHz. So even though this computer is quite decent for 2009, unfortunately 15 years later it is quite slow, just like all PCs from 2009. But why not, let's start from the startup. So over here is actually the power button, and let me show you guys from the beginning. As you can see, this is actually a Dell logo, and here's starting Windows. Unfortunately, I do have to plug this computer into the power outlet due to the fact the battery could not really stand. I'll show you guys later, but over here is actually the startup. Now boot up is quite fast. It took less than 30 seconds, as you can see. But it would actually take some time. And as you can see, the start sound was actually derived from Windows Vista. And here it is when you actually log off. And log on. And of course, if you shut down, this is what the shutdown looks like. Quite fast. Next up, I'm gonna show you guys some new features of Windows 7. As you can see, there's several different arrow themes. As you can see, the background does change every few hours. I'm not sure how much, in what intervals, but as you can see, you could actually have 3 different backgrounds, not just one. And over here is actually Windows Basic, and over here is of course Windows Classic. Now Windows 7, I do believe, is actually the very last OS to actually include the Windows Classic theme, because after Windows 7, with Windows 8 there is actually Metro UI as well as a high contrast UI instead. And as you can see, there is actually no way to actually get a classic stop menu, but you could actually make the taskbar a bit smaller. As you can see, let's do something with it. Yes, as you can see, just use more icons and never combine is how you actually turn this into Windows Vista. And as you can see, this is what the taskbar looks like in Windows 7 mode. Now let me show you guys arrow snap, which is actually to maximize or minimize even. As you can see, you could actually snap to essentially get 2 screens in to multitask. So Windows 7 is much more intuitive in multitasking than that of Vista and its predecessors. And let me show you guys arrow shake here. Yes, it does close all the other apps. And arrow check again opens everything else. Another party trick with the new window management feature is you can actually see all the apps running in the thumbnail. As you can see, we know there are actually 2 instances of libraries actually open. And there is also an enhanced system tray as well, as you can see, where you could actually hide some of the notifications. Over here it does say saw PC issues 3 important messages. And there are many more features of which I could possibly not show you guys in Windows 7. So why not, let's jump to the internet. So Windows 7 was actually bundled with IE 8, but over here it is actually IE 11. As you can see, I show you guys the About Internet Explorer. Sorry. And over here it does say IE 11, which is actually the latest version of IE that Windows 7 could actually run. And I do believe the latest version of IE, as Windows 7 could actually support Microsoft Edge. Yes. Now Microsoft did actually drop support for Edge like last year in Windows 7, which is quite recent. And Windows 7 did also come with Windows Media Player, which is actually version 12. As you can see, it is quite rudimentary. Now some of these are actually music by default. And over here is the latest version of Chrome that Windows 7 could support. And for Windows 7 could actually support up to Mozilla Firefox 115 ESR. So you can actually download 115 ESR from like ftp.mozilla.org, just like I show you guys in the XP video. And that version of Mozilla Firefox is still being supported all the way up to 2025. But if you want prolonged support, then download Supermium instead. So over here is Supermium browser. Now actually download this rather than Chrome or Firefox, because support would actually be deprecated in the next year or 2. Luckily, Google Chrome is still supported on Windows 7, sort of. Even though this is not the very latest version, many of the websites and stuff could actually support this version of Chrome. Now fortunately, the old classic menu is still not removed. As you can see, you can actually view by large icons or even small icons, as well as category, kind of like in Windows XP. But unfortunately, Windows Movie Maker is not included with Windows 7. You do have to download it through Windows Live Essentials, which I'm not even sure if it's online or not. Let me check. Unfortunately, it does not seem like it is available at this moment. It has been down, I think, for at least 4 or 5 years. But why not? Let's use some built-in apps, because the calculator app is actually updated in Windows 7. As you can see, it is still quite rudimentary, but you can actually change between a scientific calculator, which does include some calculus symbols and stuff, sin, cos, tan, which is actually in trigonometry, as well as sin h, cos h, and tan h. This is actually pi. And you could actually convert it to radians and gradients, as well as degrees. As you can see, there's actually the logarithm. And if you want to view, you could actually even have the programming function as well. So it is definitely a lot more complex than that of Windows XP, which is so rudimentary. It acts as kind of like essentially one of these like cheap Walmart calculators rather than a TI-84 calculator. And over here is for statistics, as you can see, with the Sigma notation and stuff. And why not, let's return to standard. So the calculator is quite useful, but I would recommend Mathway, because Mathway is just much better, and I do believe Mathway does work on Windows 7. But in case if you don't have the internet, then I would definitely recommend the Windows 7 calculator over the Windows XP one. Next up, I'm going to use the renowned MS Paint over here. As you can see, this is essentially the most rudimentary Paint app, but there are actually a lot more features than that of Windows XP. You could actually use it as a basic painting program. It is nowhere as good as Photoshop, of course, but as you can see, it does get the work done. Happy Halloween. Now over here are some other apps, including the Windows DVD Maker. As you can see, you could actually create DVDs and stuff. Unfortunately, don't really have many DVDs, so you cannot really create many movies. But over here is actually the Windows Media Center. Now Windows Media Center did come with Windows Vista, but it does come with Windows 7 once again. As you can see, I'm not sure if it works or not. I'll wait a few seconds. And as you can see, this is actually Windows Media Center. And this is what Windows Media Center looks like. It kind of looks like the Metro UI, as you can see. So now why not I'm going to back out and show you guys some more, including Notepad. And here is what makes Windows 7 more intuitive than Windows XP, because you could actually search for files here. So just some gibberish, and then why not I'm going to use snipping tool to actually take a screenshot. And over here is WordPad, which is of course antiquated, as WordPad was actually discontinued several years ago. Now this is kind of hybrid between WordPad and Microsoft Office, essentially kind of like Google Docs of today. And of course over here is PowerShell. It is actually included with Windows 7, and this is actually an enhanced version of command prompt. Let me show you guys, because you could technically use Unix on this. So let's go to Dear, and as you can see, this is actually the directory, and ls shows you some of the contents. And if you were to go to CD desktop, it actually brings you to the desktop. And of course, let's make a directory. And as you can see, mkdir does create a folder, so why not I'm actually just going to delete this. So this is definitely an enhanced version of command prompt, and you could even run Python apps and stuff, as well as SQL. And here are actually a myriad of accessories you could actually do on Windows 7. Connect to a projector, mat input panel, remote desktop, as well as the sound recorder and a sync center. There are actually a lot of things you could actually do, but for Windows XP mode, you do have to download it at Microsoft.com. Now, unfortunately, I could not really find any games except for GTA SA, which I actually did add. So why not let's play GTA San Andreas, which is actually a more rudimentary game than some of the others, because Windows 7, I do believe, could actually support GTA 4 and GTA 5. But this computer is kind of underpowered, so why not let's see how good GTA San Andreas actually fares. And I actually did put this in medium settings, so definitely not the very high settings, because this computer might not be able to handle some of the high settings over here. So this is actually GTA San Andreas. And here's end of the line. As you can see, very iconic. And this game itself is going to be 20 years in just about a week or so, which is actually quite fascinating. Unfortunately, I don't really have a mouse. So this game does run pretty well on medium graphics. So why not let's use the internet. As you can see, this is actually Chrome, not the latest version, but still supported on many websites. So why not I'm actually going to go to Google, which is one of the most rudimentary websites in existence. As you can see, it is definitely not the fallback version, as it kind of looks like today's Google on many modern hardware. And why not let's just search for Apple. And let's see whether or not we could actually buy a new Mac or not. So explore all Mac. And as you can see, why not let's check out the MacBook Pro. And the websites do load quite fluidly, which is quite awesome in today's standards. So it does show Windows 7 is quite usable in 2024. Let's buy. And finally, we could actually buy something, unlike in Windows XP, where it does say we have to upgrade the browser. Okay guys, over here is youtube.com. Let me show you guys. Why not let's watch some video from my channel. So here's the iFan channel here. And why not let's watch the most recent video, which is actually a BlackBerry review. Over here. Hello everybody, this is the iFan channel here. So today I'm going to review to you guys the BlackBerry Z10. Let's see if it could go up to 1080p. So today I'm going to review to you guys the BlackBerry Z10, which was first released in 2013, and see whether or not it is actually useful in 2024 or not. Wow, it is actually quite smooth even in 1080p. There is actually no latency, no buffering. And so why not let's go on reddit.com over here. As you can see, this is actually reddit.com, which is quite usable on Windows 7. And why not let's search for my account. And over here is actually my account. As you can see, I did recently buy an iPod Shuffle, and I'm actually going to go to MIT Swap Fest tomorrow. Not only is browsing on Reddit fully functional, you can also create a new post as well. So why not let's play Sliderio with just a trackpad as a mouse. So I'm just going to choose some random name here. And as you can see, Sliderio does seem a lot more usable on Windows 7 than on Windows XP, using an old version of Firefox. Now as you can see, this is actually one of the internet games. And let me see whether or not I can actually get a length of 100. Now I do know there's a ton of latency, just because this is actually old hardware with 4 gigs of RAM. Oh no! Why not let's restart it. Okay guys, finally at 100 length, as you can see. Now this is magnitude smoother than that of XP. You could theoretically play internet games on Windows 7 just fine. Now I'm trying to navigate over to a hotspot. Okay. So why not let's search Microsoft.com over here and download some tool. So over here they do advertise the new Surface Laptop plus Copilot, which is actually based on ChatGPT. And why not? I'm actually going to download something. Okay guys, I know this computer would technically not support Windows 11, but why not? I'm actually going to download Windows 11 Installation Assistant. And bam, as you can see, it does install quite quickly. You don't really need to click on redirect. It just installs instantly, unlike Windows XP, which does take some time. So why not? I'm actually going to buy a package from Amazon.com over here. So over here is Amazon, and I'm actually just going to buy, like, say, a laptop or something. Some new laptop where I could actually enjoy over here. As you can see, the Acer Aspire 3. I'm actually going to buy it, which is quite easy because this is a relatively modern browser. Just buy now. It would prompt you to log in, but in fact you could actually buy it later. So I'm just going to leave it for now and just go on eBay, because I do feel like eBay does have more affordable computers. So why not let's go on laptop. Well, I'm actually just doing this for fun. I'm not really going to buy a new computer because I do have a MacBook. But you do get the gist here. This does seem intriguing, so I'm just going to go here and actually buy the IdeaPad. Well, actually a ThinkPad. Buy now, proceed to cart. And everything does seem to work like normal over here. Go to checkout, continue as guest. And as you can see, there is actually a sales tax imposed, so I can't really do anything about it. So over here it is, the Lenovo ThinkPad 14-inch laptop. Now, not only could these sites actually load succinctly, Best Buy could actually load as well. Remember on Windows XP when Best Buy is just a jumble of unintuitive text? Now over here, Best Buy is actually far more intuitive and far more organized. And not only could you actually locate stores, you could actually buy items. So why not? I'm actually going to see the nearest Best Buy store in my area. I do believe this is actually the nearest in Arsenal Yard. And why not? I'm actually going to search for a new laptop or something. Wow. This is quite decent because it does run Windows 11 and also it is only $200. So why not? I'm actually going to upgrade this machine, this old turd, to this, which is actually a Windows 11 machine with 4 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of eMMC storage, which is actually inferior to an SSD. Add to cart, and bam! This is essentially a modern computer, even though this computer is 15 years old. And not only could you actually browse the internet, you could also create documents via Google Docs over here. Just like really any modern operating system. And you could actually compose emails as well, just like normal over here. So you could essentially use this for light to medium browsing. Not just light browsing, but also like medium browsing. Because Instagram would actually work, Facebook would actually work, X, formerly Twitter, would actually work. And here is confirmation that everything works as normal. Over here it is. And here in the modern UI. And of course here as well. Now the very last thing I'm gonna do in this video is actually download one of my videos. Over here is my BlackBerry 10 review, and why not? I'm actually going to convert this into MP4. So paste YouTube link. Oh, how is it even invalid? Okay. Convert. And why not? I'm just going to convert it to 360p, which is actually the lowest. So I can show you guys how fast the download actually is. Okay, sorry for all the buzz and stuff. As you can see, it does convert the audio and the video. It would actually take some time, but I'll show you guys how fast the download actually is. Download. It's quite annoying having to go through all these ads, and as you can see, about 1 or 2 minutes long. So see you guys in about a minute. After about a minute, download has finally finished, and let me show you guys the final result here. Hello everybody, this is the iFan channel here. So today I'm going to review to you guys the BlackBerry Z10, which was first released in 2013. Now here's the final conclusion. Is Windows 7 usable? Now I'm actually going to use hyperbole. It is 1000% usable in 2024. But is Windows 7 worth it? The answer is, it depends. In reality, due to the fact Windows 7 and Windows 10 do have similar system requirements, therefore I do believe most Windows 7 computers could actually run Windows 10. And if you're on Windows 7, I do recommend upgrading to Windows 10, as not only does it include more features, it also includes 1 extra year of support, as Windows 10 would actually lose support next year rather than 4 years ago in 2020. And not only that, you can also download the latest versions of apps on Windows 10, because essentially every single major app, including Chrome, Firefox, Safari, well, not Safari, VLC Media Player, Steam, Origin, even Zoom, as well as many others do support Windows 10, and Windows 7 is currently left out. And I've just recently found out WinZip and WinRAR does not support Windows 7 anymore. Yes, the latest version of WinZip and WinRAR does not support Windows 7. And not only is Windows 10 a benefit in terms of support and features, it is also far more lenient in terms of non-genuine copies. Because with Windows 7, you do have to endure the annoying pop-up, whilst with Windows 10, the only excrescences of not activating Windows 10 with a genuine copy is you don't get to personalize. So thank you guys for watching. Please give a big thumbs up, subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you guys soon. And just like I said before in the BlackBerry video, there are actually 2 videos per week, on Monday and on Friday. Let me remind you guys, this battery does not hold a charge anymore. As you can see, 1% available and not charging.